Hi boys and girls, and welcome back. We are going to begin Module 4 today. You are going to learn more about fractions. You're going to be multiplying and dividing fractions in this module. Today we're going to work on Module 4, Lesson 1. The essential question is, how do I measure and compare pencil lengths to the nearest half, quarter, and eighth of an inch, and analyze the data through line plots? Let's begin. Hi boys and girls. So in order to do today's lesson, I have to show you how to read a ruler. So I'm going to do that now. I've got my ruler right here, and I put a white paper behind it because my ruler is clear, so it'll be easier for you to see. So I'm going to show you how to read my ruler. So if you look very closely, you'll see on this one side it says inch. So this is the inches side, okay? And we're going to use the inches side as we do today's lesson. But I'm first going to show you, if you flip your ruler over, your ruler actually does two different types of measurement. It says mm. Well, mm stands for millimeters. So this is the millimeter side. Each little line here is 1 millimeter because millimeters are very tiny. And 10 of those millimeters equals 1 centimeter because centimeters are 10 times bigger than millimeters, just like you've learned in the previous modules. So this starts at 0 and counts up 10 little lines to 1 centimeter. Then counts up 10 more little lines to 2 centimeters, and etc. You probably will use this millimeter section at some point, but today in this lesson we are going to use the inch side. So it's really important that you pay close attention as I show you how to use the ruler with the inches side. So as you can tell, it says inch, so you need to make sure that up here is the inches. Down here, these will be upside down. They don't really make sense this way, so you're going to use the top of your ruler. As you can tell as well, your ruler does not start 0 at the edge. It actually brings 0 in just a little bit. So when measuring, you've got to start at your 0 line. Okay, and you'll see me in the video to come that I start when I'm measuring something at the 0 line. Okay, and I see 0 here, and I see 1 all the way over here, and I see a lot of little lines in between 0 and 1. Let's count those little lines and see how many lines are between 0 and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 little lines between 0 and 1, the 16th line actually being the 1. That means that each little line is 1/16. Okay, so if you were measuring to the nearest 16th of an inch, you'd measure to the nearest little line. So if you're measuring to the nearest eighth of an inch, you're actually going to go to the 2/16th line, which means every 2 lines, because 2/16, or 2 over 16, is equivalent to 1/8, which is the same as 1 over 8. Okay, so every 2 lines is 1/8. Every 4 lines, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 4/16, and 4/16 is equivalent to 1/4. Okay, so each of these, let's see how the line goes a little bit longer. This is a 4, and then a 4th also goes here, and a 4th goes here, and then a whole. So that would be, I would count 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, which makes 1 whole. Okay, now halfway between here, you see a really long line. That's a ½ inch line, and that means there's 8 little lines between 0 and that, because 8/16, or 8 out of 16, is equivalent to 1/2. So this is the ½ inch line. So if you're measuring to the nearest ½ inch, you're either measuring 0, 1/2, 1 whole, 1.5, 2, etc. So you're either going to today use 1/8, which is every 2 lines. See 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. You're either going to use fourths, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, or you're going to use halves, 1/2, 1 whole, 1.5, 2, etc. So today, make sure you're following closely as I show you how to measure to the nearest eighth, quarter, and ½ inch. All right, so if we were in class while we were doing this, everybody would use their own ruler and they'd measure their pencil to the nearest ½ of an inch. Because you guys are at home and you probably don't have a bunch of pencils and your ruler, I'm going to show you 6 different pencils, and I'm going to measure each of the pencils, and then we're going to complete the line plot together to collect some data about our 6 pencils. All right, so again, here's our ruler, and here's my first pencil. Okay, I'm going to make sure I start it at the 0. Okay, on my ruler, I'm going to make sure it starts at the 0. And this one has no eraser, so this one's definitely going to be a little different than those with an eraser. And I'm going to measure it to the nearest ½ inch. So I'm actually going to take another one of my pencils, and I'm just going to mark where it is so it's easier for me to show you this. Okay, so you see where it ends? If you look at the ruler, it ends pretty much at 6 1/4 inch. So we need to round to the nearest ½ of an inch. So in this case, it could even round to 6, or it could round to 6 1/2. So in this case, it looks like it's a little closer to 6. So I'm going to say that the nearest ½ inch for this pencil is 6 inches. Okay, I'm going to write that up here. Pencil number 1. Pencil number 2, nice pink little one that somebody lost in our classroom here. I'm going to put it at 0 again, and I'm going to read the inches all the way to where it is. I'm going to mark with another little pencil here just so I can show you a little closer. Okay, and it looks like it goes to about 6 3/4 inches, a little farther than that. So I'm going to say this is closest to 7 inches. The nearest ½ inch is 7 inches. Okay, I'm going to take my next pencil. This is actually my pencil. It's got a nice big eraser on it. Okay, and I'm going to put a little mark where that one ended. Okay, and I'll zoom in and let you see a little closer where it ended. It's about a little past 6 1/4, probably about 6 1/8, 2/8, 6 3/8, which is closest to 7 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 7 1/2. So this nearest ½ inch is 7 1/2 inches. My next pencil, put it on the 0, line it up. If I zoom in, it looks like it's really close to 7 inches, so that one's another 7 inch. Got 2 more pencils. I got a nice blue one, not even sharpened yet. Look at this guy. And it goes all the way to about 7 1/2. If you look closely, about 7 1/2 inches. And my last pencil, this little white one, lost and found. Is this somebody's pencil? Started at the 0. And it goes all the way to about a little beyond 6 3/4, which would mean it's closest to 7 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to take this data and I'm going to put it into my number plot. All right, so I put all of the measurements of my pencils in the upper left-hand corner. Now what we need to do is put it into our line plot. So you see this little X over here. Well, this is what we use in a line plot. So a line plot is basically a number line. So does this look like a number line to you? Absolutely. It's got a starting point, it's got an ending point, and it's got points in between. And this is actually split into ½ inch. So you can, basically it's like having a little ruler. So now we're going to plot each X on our line plot here. So the first one is 6 inches. So I'm going to go to 6 inches and I'm going to put an X. Okay. Put my X right at 6 inches. Now I'm going to go 7 inches and I'm going to put my X. Okay. Now I'm going to go to 7 1/2 inches, my next number down, and I'm going to put an X at 7 1/2 inches. Okay, which is halfway between 7 and 8. And I'm going to go and I'm going to put an X, another X at 7 inches. I'm going to put another X at 7 1/2 inches. And I'm going to put my last X at 7 inches. Now my line plot is complete, and I can use this line plot to gather data about my pencils measured to the nearest ½ inch. Some of the questions could be, how many pencils measured 7 inches? And you could look and you could see that 1, 2, 3 pencils measured 7 inches. You could also look and see that 2 pencils measured 7.5 and 1 pencil measured 6. You could say what was the most common measurement for pencils, which in this case would obviously be 7 inches because there were 3. You could say which was the least. You could say 6. You could say what information can you gather about all of these pencils. You could say that all of them are 6 inches or greater. There's lots of different data that you could gather from this line plot that we just made. So now we are going to measure our pencil to the nearest eighth of an inch. And then we're going to complete the line plot with the gathered data from our 6 pencils, which we would have done with the entire class, like I said, had we been in the class. So let's try it. So again, here is my ruler. We're on the inch side, and we need to measure to the nearest eighth of an inch. So let's remember what the nearest eighth inch is. So we know that there's 16 lines, which means that each line is 1/16. So I know that 2/16 is equivalent to 1/8. So every 2 lines is 1/16, or 1/8, which is 2/16. So this is 1/8, this is 2/8, this is 3/8, this is 4/8, which is equivalent to 1/2, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, which is equivalent to 1 whole. So let's take our pencils again. I've got this nice lost and found pencil here. Somebody's going to claim this after this video, I think. I'm going to put it on my ruler. Make sure I'm lining this up with the 0 line, not the end of the ruler, right? And I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a little mark so it's easier for me to show you where this pencil ended. Okay, you see where that pencil ends? The nearest eighth of an inch is actually 7 3/4, which is 7 6/8. So I'm going to put 7 3/4 on there. My next pencil, I'll do this nice pink one. Put it at the 0. It goes right to almost the same spot that last one was on. Right about 7 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to again put 7 3/4, which is equivalent, like I said, to 6/8. Okay. Next, I'm going to do my blue pencil. Put it on the 0. This is the one that's not sharpened. Should be pretty easy to read. It looks like just about 7.5, which is 7 4/8. I'm going to put 7.5. My next pencil, I'll put on 0, and I'll measure all the way, and it looks like it's just beyond the 7-inch mark. If you look close, see it's just beyond the 7-inch mark, but it's actually closer to 7 1/8 or 7 2/16 than it is to 7. So I'm going to put 7 1/8. I'm missing a pencil here. Here we go. Here's my next pencil. Started at 0. And this one looks a little past 6. There's 6 1/8. Right about 6 2/8. And my last pencil started at 0. Comes right about here, which is about 7 2/8. Now I measured 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pencils, so now I'm ready to put this data on my line plot. All right, so now let's plot our points on our line plot. So we have 7 3/4, and again, our line plot is basically like a number line. It looks just like a ruler. It goes from 0 to 1. This one goes all the way to 8. So this one is actually split into eighths because that was what we were going to get. We were going to the nearest eighth of an inch. So 7 3/4. Right here, 7 3/4, we know is 7 6/8. So I'm going to take my x and I'm going to put it at 7 6/8. So there's 7. There's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8. Right there is where I'm going to put my x. Now I have another one that's 7 3/4, so I'm going to put it at the same spot, 7 6/8. Now I have 7 1/2, which is equal to 7 4/8. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. Now I have 7 1/8. I'm going to put it at the 7 line with one more on it, 7 1/8. And I have 6 2/8. So there's 6 1/8, 6 2/8. And then I have 7 2/8. There's 7 1/8, 7 2/8. So now I can use this data to answer some questions. We could say, what measurement do you see most frequently? Well, that's 7 6/8 because there are 2 pencils at that measurement. You could say the smallest pencil is what measurement, and you can look at the line plot without even having this data over here. You could look at the line plot and you can see that 6 2/8 is the smallest pencil. So I want you to think about the line plot that we made previously in this line plot. We actually use the same data because we use the same pencils. So the difference between the 1/2 inch and the 1/8 inch is that this line plot got more specific, okay? Because a 1/2 inch, measuring to the nearest 1/2 inch, is a little more, there's a little more room for error, and 1/8 inch gives you a little less room for error. You've got to be really close to that measurement in order to do it. So this line plot would be the one that you'd choose if you wanted to get the nearest measurement. I hope you enjoyed remembering how to use your ruler as well as plotting data on a line plot. Be ready to try this. Have a good night.